Alrighty. Today, a little bit more of a theoretical video about us building things, but I would say it's quite important. The folder structures for your tracks. Okay, let's start with the obvious thing. This is the Kane5 files. The name theoretically is completely irrelevant if you use a models.ini file. If you do not use it, your file name needs to be the same as the folder name. And then you can, okay, let's start with a track without any of these. Let's start with this. We do not have different variations of a track. The default track is called track_tutorial, and that's also the name of the Kane5 file that uses the main things. There's a different one, track tutorial buildings, which I just use for buildings, and one for the trees and other vegetation stuff. Usually what I would advise is to have one more file for all the dummies and empties, for example, the pit lane starts, the start positions and general sectors, and these type of things. And you can or make one more, or you include it into the empty ones, walls, because walls are a separate thing. You do not use, for example, a guardrail like seen on here is too much geometry. We do not use this as our colliding mesh. We use a simple plane that follows along. And it's just way easier in a different file because you can simply make all of these invisible. Now, to get a track working, you do actually just need two things. You do need your track name, your track Kane5 file with the same name as the folder, and a UI folder with just the JSON. If we go in there, we can probably see where I copied it from. Actually, no. Okay, I want this centered. So we do have the name, which is also the name you will find it in your in here. Okay. So lazy tutorial in Germany, quite important. Or here, country Germany, city, length, width, pit boxes. Otherwise you cannot. As you can see, if I enable track day, I can add 33 opponents. With me, it's 34. If I change this to 3 and save it, I can only add 3. Clockwise, anti-clockwise is somewhat important depending on the type of track. Width is relatively not important. You can add your geotags from latitude to longitude, which is a neat feature because you can add the surroundings with CSP in the extension, which is nice. Don't know why here's a circuit in there. Let's save it. Then there's AB, which is A to B. Simple A to B, not a circuit. I know why circuit was in there. For the traffic, for two-way traffic, it's much easier to have this in, and you do not get a warning. So this is basically the information of your track. Name, a description of it. In that case, I kept it really simple. The tags, which can be used to find it under tags. And yes, these tags are included. Geotags currently not set up for me. Country, city, so I can find it. Length, I keep this above 10,000 to get a better traffic spawn. You can set the author, the version, and the URL to your site. The next thing you can have is a preview in there. I use the Trento Bondone picture because that's the track I copied here. But if I delete it, I just have a missing picture up here. Now the next thing is the map. In my case, it's auto-generated with a black thing because I do not have a map. And then the models. If there's no models file and the track name and the game file share the same name, it will start and will only load this file. In the model file, you can tell the game which models, which Kane5 files it should use. In my case, I start with the track, then the trees, and then the buildings. The position, if you exported it completely normally and did not do something funky, always 0. And important is that you count up the model type. So if this one would also be 1, it would just load the second one, I think. Now, under AI would be our AI files, which we need to create. There will be a separate video to get AI for two-way traffic and also racing line. And under data, there can be a few different things. For the data folder, I will change the track to let's start with something similar. The most important thing is surfaces. And in that case, I just have one single type of road, which is usually not the type on most roads. You have the surface 0, which is all the surfaces with road and whatever question mark is telling the game to ignore everything that's behind it. So everything that is road has a friction of 1, a damping of 0, no force feedback effect, no dirted additive, no black flag is a valid track, so you do not get your lap cancelled, and all the other things are 0 because it's a normal track. For grass, the grass thing has less friction, comes up dirt, has the grass wave texture in there, so you can hear when you drive over it. It's not a valid track because if you're driving on a grass, you're usually not the part where you should driving, so you get your lap time invalidated. And then sin height, sin length is probably just the bumps that you generate with it. Not quite sure. And the vibration that you get from it. Under curb, basically the same thing. It has less friction than the normal asphalt. Curb, in my case, I do use it for the white lines. And pitched it up. Is valid track in my case, because it is just the white lines. And the rest is on 0. And you can add a lot of different types in here. Change a few settings, for example, road underscore main, friction of 1. If I have road underscore old, the friction would probably be 0.9. And so you get a different feeling for all of the different roads. You can also use this, for example, for manholes, which is really, really nice because you get a sense of feeling that you would miss if you're not doing this. I will make a separate video for exactly this thing because it is, I wouldn't say it's complex, but if done right, you can gain a lot of feeling to your track. That's why we're going to make one separately just for this, to see what you can do with it, to play a bit with it, and then benefit from all of it. And we have a lightning, which is just the default pitch angle and sun heading angle. Play with it so you find something that fits, or find a track where it looks good to you and copy it. Nothing wrong with that. And in my case, I have AI hints because usually for the AI, I do not allow them to give more than maybe 80% of throttle. Yeah, they get a brake hint, so they brake more. And they get a danger and also a max speed, so they're not faster. But again, that will be in a different video. There are a few other things that you can put in there. So let's go to the Nordschleife. Let's take the Touristenfahrten. Audio sources. Mainly used for reverb, I think. But there's also something, I'm not sure if this is in here or in the CSP panel, but we will find out when we get there. We have the reverb, which means in that case under the Bierstein Bridge or at Arenberg or the Exmühle, you get reverb. You have the distance, decay time, delay, late delay, reference, and so on. Best use case, find something you like, copy it, and then adjust one thing at a time to find out what it does, so you understand it. And then you can create your completely own style of reverb, or find the one that, find the one that fits your case. And it's all controlled by a node, which means you have an empty in that case. And it's called AC audio, AC underscore audio, which is important. Otherwise it should not work. And then the name to whatever it is. Cameras. Simply the positions of the cameras, which is generated in-game. So not a lot to see in here. Cameras 1, static cameras, TV cameras. No idea what it's for a set name. Different set names. True. No idea. DRS zones. You can today I cannot pronounce Jesus Christ, it's really hard today. Today I cannot talk normally, I think. So here you can tell the game where the detection for the DRS zone is, start and end. The value is basically how far along for the track it is, from 0 to 1. You can find this under your AI or under DRS zones in the apps in-game. Groove. Now this is something really, really important. First of all, groove numbers. the total amount of different groove lines or split parts, then you have a value. In that case, it looks always the same, which is the minimum visibility and the maximum, and then you have a multiplier. In that case, it's always the same in a lot of different times. Especially the multiplier can be really helpful. The higher the number, the more used or the more groove line you have. And the groove line is basically where the rubber was laying down from driving the road. That is an ideal line.ai. That is for people that use the helping AI ideal line, which is basically the AI file, the fast lane. And not just basically, it is just with a different name. The lighting, the map with width, margin, scale factor. I think it's auto-generated, not sure. Overlays. Just some basic parameters. Which a checkpoint. Didn't knew there is one. And the yellow flag distance. So how long it is visible. Sections. You have sections from 008 to 033. So that's basically the distance. It's Hatzenbach-Bogen, then there's Hatzenbach, Hoheneichen, Mittelbacher Höhe, and. It's just a nice way to see where you're driving. And surfaces, in that case, curb, carpet, different curb with a different friction, tarmac normal, you can see the friction, and so on. That's a quite good example to see the different use of friction, damping. And that's it for this track. Probably all that you ever need. And then you can have different versions of a track. Let's start with skins, because you can have skins. In that case, you don't even have one. For example, the winter skins, if it's not automated by CSP, you would just put in there. And textures, I don't think that should be in there. Yeah, that's exported by me, because you also do not have object and FBX files for it. And then different versions, and each version have a different AI folder, different data folder, and an extension folder. For the extension folder, let's use the default one. Nordschleife. There's no extension. Excuse me. That's surprising. Alright, so let's search for a track with an extension folder, and then we can call this a day today. I'm surprised they are not using it. Where is Armor Drive? Nah, not Armor Drive, but Hey Joe. Reroam, also not. Huh. Good to know. It what? Shutoko. Extension. Perfect. Oh, even rainbow. Animations. And one of the most impressive things, incredible long file. This one will be a different topic because it's just so much informations. But in short, what you can control with this, different lighting things to get it in line with CSP, light pollution, just so insane. You can replace shaders. So for example, a tiling fix. If you use a texture with tiling and you can see it, so it's a visible tiling, you have a shader from CSP, which is case per pixel underscore tiling fix, which breaks this up a little bit. You can still see tiling on most parts, but it looks way better than before. So you just tell them the name and the shader, the new shader. Grass FX. You tell all of the things that are grass and materials that occlude, so hinder the grass to grow. Most likely road and stuff like this. Then in specific, I still cannot fucking use this word today. Specify. Nope, still can't do it. Yeah, there are more settings than this. I will link something to read about it, the GitHub, in the video, under the video, in the description. You have particles, in that case, firework, a condition, yeah, that's blinking light, signs, a rainbow, oh, continue, light series. Street lamps, for example, how they are shining, the range, direction, the materials, if they're active. Usually also when they're active. So condition sun smooth is probably always. Then I think on that track it's a lot of light series. Material adjustments. Because you can change materials in here. And some things that you cannot even select in the KS editor, at least not native. You can adjust materials also with conditions. Go to the simple lights. Whee. Okay, so distant emissive. Good to know. Also water. The type with the bump maps, which gives water a way more natural look. And then rain FX, because rain FX is used by a lot of people. Just tell them puddle materials and lines, and then you can animate things. And there's also smoke from a ship. Insane. So to keep it short, to have it working, you do not need a lot. Not at all. You basically just need a folder with a name, a KN5 file with the same name, and an UI folder with the UI track JSON. more out of it, you can use the models to split things up, which I highly recommend. You have the base with where a lot of things is in there. Maybe you even separate the road and just separate a few things to lighten the models and simplify exporting it. For the extension file, you can do a lot of things, but you can wait till your track is finished. Under data, you can do your best work to get more variations in it. You set up cameras, well, you set them up in-game and it will be safe there. But the surface.ini is the most important part. And maybe the groove line, depending on the track. And the AI folder, which is not that important unless you want to have AI. Yeah, on Monday, we are diving into trees, grass, and bushes, flowers, so all the vegetation parts. Also, how to create a forest, because most people just scatter trees around, and that's not the way you should do it. At least not in AC with the performance in mind. Yeah, so see you on Monday. Have fun. Good luck. Bye bye.